Hey guys, welcome back. I'm filming this on Thursday for the video to be uploaded on Tuesday. And I just want to start the video by saying, holy cow. Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Knicks come back from, 29 points to win? Insane. Absolutely insane. If you thought Jalen Brunson was the king of New York, OG Anunoby's going to get a statue up right next to him. I just needed to mention that. Anyway, if you watched last week's video, you remember me painting these guys. And we're going to add a few more as well. If you remember last week's video, I've added some new drawings. I'm not going to paint all of these today. I'm probably going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, these guys here. I just needed to draw these ones in so I could get kind of a gauge for where to place everybody else. And so let's do these 4 today. I've got my paints out to the side here. I'm going to zoom in like I did at the last video because I like the way that looked. So let's go ahead and zoom in first on a Sandhill Crane. So Sandhill Crane. These guys are gray, white, red. Pretty simple. So we're going to do some pen lining and then we can get into the painting. Okay, there's our pens. These guys are pretty interesting. They have a bright red head, really big, really loud. They kind of sound like dinosaurs when they make their noises, which is really neat. I will put that sound in right now. Okay. Insane, right? Crazy noise. I don't see these guys quite as often as I see pelicans or the herons, for example. But if these guys do live around you, you are aware of it. They're very big, they're very loud, and they're creatures of habit. And so if you see them near your area in your backyard once, you're very likely to see them again. Head is white. We know how to do white from the other video, but if you didn't watch that one, the best way to get something to look white, especially with watercolors, is to actually paint it a very light blue. Not a super vibrant blue. So you'll notice when I put this down, I've added some purple, some gray to it to dull it down, just a touch. But we're going to go ahead and throw in some of this color here, just in the areas that are white, which is a lot of him. The parts of him that aren't white are gray, which is white plus, essentially. So we can kind of just do this whole body with this blue color to start. But we are avoiding the top of the head here. We could even put this in the beak if we wanted to, because it's not a huge deal. I mentioned the body is gray, but it's a warmer gray, like the neck of our heron. You see how this is a warm gray and that's a cool gray? We're going to use the warmer gray for the body of this guy. And just some random marks to indicate some feather texture. We'll leave that for now. Let's do this eyeball, which is orange. So I'm going to mix. I have an orange on my palette, but I find that it doesn't usually make the most vibrant oranges for me. So I just mix red and yellow to get my orange. And we have a red head. I've got a couple versions of red. Maybe I'll pull into some of those even to get almost like a burgundy color. And let's see how this looks. And the beak is basically black. So I'm going to pull some black from my palette. But if you've watched my videos before, you know that I never use just one color. I'm always mixing at least a little something with my colors, especially black, because it's very easy to paint black and for it to be boring. So I always add something to my black, a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, maybe a little bit of brown. It varies based on what I'm painting and what I think it needs, but I'm always adding a little bit of something else to my blacks or any other color as well. while I'm saying that, you can see me coming in here with some more shadows. So the shadows for all my other birds are kind of coming from this direction. So I'm going to keep it the same for this guy. My reference photo, the light is actually coming from this way, but I want to make it consistent. So we're going to put a shadow on the front side here, as if the shadow was above and behind him a little bit. I'm gonna do a few more details in a nice dark blue-black color. And then we'll come back with my white pen and marker once this is dry. So let me let this dry for a sec and I'll be right back. It's already dry. I'm gonna start with this guy, Posca marker. You've seen him before. Just in some of our highlight sections. I want it really bright on his cheek here. I'm going to do a highlight in the eye and on top of the head, but this is too big of a pen for that. And so these marks I'm doing are just to indicate some feather texture. Now with my kind of jelly roller pen, I'm going to do some dots on top of his head, a little bit here on the beak. You can see it just adds a little bit of intrigue and interest into that little section up top. So let's mark down his name. There we go, Sandhill Crane. So let's move on to our osprey. Ospreys are unique birds. They are almost entirely piscivorian, which means they eat mostly fish. I see a lot of them down here. Obviously, I live very close to the water, and that's where you'll find ospreys most of the time. And so these are a bird I'm very familiar with. They're really interesting. They're not quite as big as something like a bald eagle or a heron, but they're very effective hunters. I often see them with a tilapia or something in their mouth or in their claws, pulling it back to somewhere to eat it. These guys are very successful hunters, which is pretty neat. So let's get in here and work on this guy. This guy, like a lot of our other birds, is got a lot of white on him, so we'll just bust the white out really quickly. All right, like a lot of our other birds in the last video, these guys have yellow eyes, so let's do that really quickly. And we can also get into his other primary color, which is a nice dark brown. And we'll put this down for our base layer. Now this is a lot more vibrant than ospreys are. But I'm going to put this color down first so that I can put a darker color on top of it. And this will just poke through in a few spots wherever I decide, and it'll make it seem like the sun's hitting it in those areas. See that just a little bit of underlying warmth that gives us. We got another black beak. Let's do some of these shadows. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of like a tan color on the feet. It's not very noticeable in the original, but it is there. And I'm going to use my pen and color in these claws, or talons rather. So let's give that a second to dry, and then we can come back in with our pen. I'm going to throw a little bit of color on this log as well. We're just going to go with a dull brown. It's not anything fancy here. Okay, so now we're dry. Got old trusty back out. Adding some highlights in. There's a little small highlights in there that I can't do yet. I'll do with my other pen. But on the chest and the body, these legs have some highlights to them. I'm going to use a method I've used before where I dab away some of that just to soften it up a tad. Now our small pen for some more of these fine details. Osprey. Let's get on to the bald eagle. If you live in the United States, you know anything that I'm going to tell you about a bald eagle, so we don't really need to learn anything more. We're going to go ahead and get right into this one. So let's start with the pens. So these guys are native to a large portion of the United States, Florida included, and it's always really cool to see one when you're out and about. Makes you feel a little patriotic. I'm going to kind of avoid some of this here for now, just because we need to make room for our red-shouldered hawk down here. But that's going to be enough information for me, I think. Let's do the white head. We've got a yellow eye and a yellow beak. And then for the feathers, we're going to do something very similar to our osprey. Shadows. And let's do some nice dark brown for our feathers. You'll notice I'm paying attention right now to the direction of my strokes. It'll just kind of give me a little shortcut to a feathered look. Is what little marks I leave between my strokes will help to indicate the idea of there being feathers. So we'll let him dry. I can mark in where the name's going to be while that happens though. I'm going to mark up some of these feathers. And let's do some highlighting as well. Okay, that's the bald eagle. Let's do this red-shouldered hawk and we can finish this video for today. First things first, like every other video and every other bird, we'll do some pen lining. The body has no painted white on it. How fun is that? First bird, I think, we don't have to paint any white on. We've got a lot of a very light brown, almost red, hence the name, red-shouldered hawk. So let's get some of this down. So these guys are really cool, these red-shouldered hawks. They make a sound that you probably associate with eagles. That stock eagle sound that you think of when you think of an eagle sound. That's not what an eagle sounds like. I gotta put in some yellow here for the beak. Try not to dirty that up too bad by touching the colors around it. We can do some of that color on the legs as well, but there's not much leg to be shown. I'm gonna make this tail go just underneath our cormorant So I'm going to mark up this guy's head just for my sake. Okay. I'm not going to be painting him today, but I've marked him in just so he's delineated before I do any more work on this hawk. Our guy's got some pretty intricate patterning going on. Not the most crazy thing in the world, but definitely some stripes in the belly, on the head. There's actually some white stripes or marks on the face and the wing as well, but I'll be doing those with my pen. Speaking of my pen, let's jump into that. So it's no particular pattern. I'm just kind of scribbling these in to a point where I like them. And we've got some little white lines in the body too. I want to do a little more shadow work. And one of the things I'm going to do here, because he's in front of our bald eagle, I'm actually going to do a bit of a rim light. That way he just stands out a little better. Let's put in his name. I think that will work for us. We're just going to make this guy's head a little smaller. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. Let's zoom out and get a look at how everybody is going so far. Yeah, that looks really nice. If you agree with me and think this looks really nice, do me a favor. Hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, share with your friends, leave a comment. All the standard YouTube things makes a world of difference to a channel my size especially. It shows YouTube that this content is something worth showing to other people, and it also tells YouTube that it's something you'd want to see more of. As always, thank you so much for watching. There's a box here that will show you a video that YouTube thinks you'll like, and I've got a circle down maybe here-ish that has my signature in it that will take you right to my channel. Thank you again. I can't thank you guys enough, and I will see you in the next one.